his gang to plunder one last gold mine before making their escape. And that's where I thought I'd find him.
Vamos ver se tá tudo certo. Não sei porquê. Pum. Caiu aqui a conexão. Conexão não. Nossa gravação. Tamo de volta, gente. Tamo de volta. Esse som, não sei porquê, com fone de ouvido. Tem alguns jogos que eles brincam com o som e fica simplesmente a critério deles. Eu mexi aqui, outra coisa que eu ia mexer, não sei se eu fiz, deixa eu dar uma olhada, gente. Era no mouse, deixando a mesma acessibilidade ali do mouse do duelo. Bora lá. Então, bem-vindos de volta. Eu vejo miragens. Calma escaldante. Vamos atrás de mais uns... Como diria... Como diria Igor Guimarães, né? O Amado, criador do boneco Josias. Vamos caçar uns bandidinhos. Seu bandidinho, vamos caçar uns bandidinhos. Encontrei a entrada da mina. Deixa eu pegar meu cafezinho aqui, de boa. E sinto a presença da treta. Ó, ó.
As my late father pointed out to me more than once, God made man, but Samuel Colt made him equal.
Puxando as duas arminhas e não vinha. Esse era o caminho alternativo. Não sei, a gente pega umas munição. Barrilzinho. Ganhei 10 pontos. Tacando fogo nas...
I knew that dynamite wasn't mine, so I decided the polite thing would be to return it. It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to those riches. There were thieves and killers, robbing travelers and hijacking gold shipments. Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy pickings. Charlie Crow, the blacksmith. James, who worked in the stable. Sam and Jeremiah Barber, the butcher's sons. Ordinary citizens who lived a double life. Stealing and thieving and murdering their neighbors.
Ótimo, gente. E aproveita e carrega.
Of course, the rest were veterans of the Civil War. Stone-cold killers trained on the bloody fields of Shiloh and Antietam.
A jogabilidade aqui depois
Dangerous, desperate individuals. Plummer had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to breach. I was outnumbered and in way over my head. but I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. They must have thought I was touched. Or had some kind of death wish, seeing as there were barrels of gunpowder everywhere. One stray bullet, one stray spark, and I'd be blown to hell and gone. Did I have any second thoughts about what I was doing? No.
Passou ali, tomou. Vamos usar aqui como arma. Esse barril. Munição. Carrega tudo, vamos.
I thought I was some kind of hero. I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out.
Será que eu vou ter que usar isso aqui? Não? Cuidado.
I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest way in, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way.
Olha, o caminho cheio de guardas aqui, temos o outro, vamos pelo outro.
Bummer wants that asshole dead.
Mentira, mano, só segui o caminho marcado ali pelas faixas amarelas.
I'm here.
Tem que seguir a história? Ah, sacanagem, cadê?
Do you know who we are?
Cadê a liberdade aqui?
You can't beat me.
Pegou o headshot, vai logo na... Pegou o slow, vai no headshot. Só uma.
Besides, once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it. Some of those shafts could be as deep as hell. A single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion.
You ain't beefing me.
Parece que o slow... Vamos ver se dá pra ativar e desativar ele.
Quick reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked.
De novo.
I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come.
Parece que a gente ativa o slow. Aí derrotou alguém. Matou ali um dos assassinos da gangue. Aí o slow para. aquele tempo que resta pra você.
With all that gunpowder and dynamite everywhere, a body has to know what he's shooting at. All it takes is one tiny spark, and boom.
Vamos lá de novo.
Get easy. I will drop you down a mine shaft. Let's do this.
Beleza, aqui tem que ser tiro certeiro. Espaço.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube. I freely admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane. It's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it.
Vai ter que atirar os caras enquanto
Instead,
caía.
I spotted a ladder, a way into the mine from the opposite side.
Olha lá, ó. Aqui a opção apagou. Ali tivemos um pequeno vislumbre do que seria.
It was a long way around, but that approach seemed more sensible at the time.
Vamos ver o que tem pra fazer aqui. Beleza, aquele caminho ali não deu certo. Teve um recapitula aqui do game. Tem habilidade, vamos ver o que dá pra comprar. Deu uma bugadinha aqui, eu achei que já tinha comprado isso aqui. Arma lendária desbloqueada. Ações personalizadas no cano aumentam seu alcance. E poder de penetração também diminui muito as chances de errar. 25 alcance, 30 de coice. Ó, aqui parece que estamos com a mesma arma. Eu pego um... Não, deixa eu apertar lá pra ver. Você tem que selecionar aqui. Causa mais dano durante a concentração. Basta se concentrar para causar mais dano. Todos os seus disparos durante a concentração causam 50% a mais de dano. Então aqui a habilidade de pistoleiro. Talvez aqui apareça mais outra, ó, mais duas salvas de habilidade. Tem essa aqui e essa. Vamos ver.
It was a long way around, but that approach seemed more sensible at the time. Of course, being I had a problem with heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. Climbing down that ladder required some caution. Because even though I had a younger man's reflexes, no man can dodge a damn bullet while climbing down a rickety ladder. I needed to make a leap of faith, which ain't easy when you're suspended between heaven and hell.
Vou ter que correr pra lá. Tem um caminho alternativo aqui. Lá pelo outro lado encontre Henry.
I was determined not to give up, however.
Caramba, foi por pouco.
That Sheriff Plummer seemed quite the despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. and I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water.
Olha o nome da arma. Coisa do diabo, 6 tiros. Opa! Eu achei que era só uma arma, mas não é. 135 de 140 e a outra dava 100 e... Essa tem mais... Tá, amarelinha.
But first, I would have to make a choice. Take the elevator or climb the ladder.
Vai pegar o elevador ou a escada, né? Parece a coach dos irmãos Winchester.
I wanted to use the element of surprise. Plus, I figured I could use the exercise. I was warmed up already, so what the hell?
Vamos lá subir. As caras subidas aqui. Elevador.
Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserved better.
Nevada City? Well, I thought Plummer met his maker in Bannock, Montana.
Right, well, he was the sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives.
Legal, a qualquer hora a
including my
história
own.
pode mudar aqui por causa do conto dele. Pula. Ah, aqui ó. Mostrando o caminho. Beleza. Essa historinha me lembra um pouquinho The Witcher 3 e Devil May Cry.
This is gonna hurt. Well, this
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was gonna take some doing.
Espera.
you can shoot, but can you aim? Really chapping my ass.
Ok, Google. Apague a luz. Por que o Google deixou ligada a luz aqui?
Come on, boys. Take this line. Sucker out.
Espera. Olha, eu vi umas coisas pra explodir. Pega munição. Vem pra cá.
They're gonna bury you in a million
Headshot bonito.
They're gonna need a dustpan to pick you up. Right
Calma. Ah, mano, eu esquivei. Ah, sacanagem. Pra lá, toma. Lado, cobertura. Ah, mentira, mano. O cara lá escondido. Ah, chefe, fila da mãe. Vou usar o slow nele. Vai pro outro lado. Esquivei. Ah, maldição. Ali, ó. Aproveita, recarrega, vai. Ele.
That's how Henry Plummer died. Him and his crew were worth their weight in
Na hora
gold.
que joga granada.
And now, I was officially a bounty hunter.
Que assim dá pra explodir ali pertinho dele.
So, did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word he was in Kansas with John Wesley Hardin.
Bem
So that's where I went.
Where in Kansas?
do interior.
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Interior da
Was
América do
Hardin as
Norte.
fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, but John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
John Wesley, episódio 4.
Hell, he killed his first man at 15. From that day forward, he had a price on his head and wouldn't back down for nobody, not even Wild Bill Hickok himself.
Lá seja rápido ou seja morto, Silas afirma que passou a caçar recompensa para financiar sua busca pelo último assassino Roscoe Bob. O quê?
I dodged death many a time, and that night in Abilene was no
Já
different.
começou assim?
I was there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wesley.
Não deixa ele cercar. Olha os tiros. Piu, piu.
I thought the Texas Rangers got Hardin.
Caramba,
Yeah.
agora foi rápido.
That's what they want you to believe. It was cold in a witch's tit and a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres.
Temos as pistolinhas. Aqui a gente tava, trocou por essa, mas parece que é temporário, depois volta pra essa. Entre na taverna e busque Hardin.
To the very same saloon we're sitting in today.
Salão clássico aqui, ó. Já apareceu até no Chaves. Chaves não, o Chapolin. Que é essa?
Look around and imagine this place painted in blood. Hardin was waiting for me. Wait, I'm jumping the gun here. Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men.
Proximidades de Abilene.
He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs. He and his men set up camp outside of town, and I was hoping Bob was among them. They didn't ask why I was there. They knew. And most of them were wanted as well. I figured Hardin was here somewhere, but to get to him, I'd have to get past his gun hands. And that was easier said than done, as most of them were as foolish and full of bravado as I was. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was carousing in town with his closest friends. Hardin's boys apparently didn't want me to reach the Bull's Head. Some were hightailing it into town to inform their jefe of my unwelcomed presence.
Dá o rifle aqui. Não pode passar na fogueirinha. Aqui em cima.
Stop that sumbitch! Let the boys know we got another law dog.
Estão escondidos. Quer ver, ó? Por aqui. Não, estão do outro lado, beleza.
I wondered if Bob was among them.
É bom que fica brilhando, a gente sabe onde tem munição, onde ele caiu.
And I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better.
Calma, olha lá, o ponto de controle. O salvamento é uma... eu vou dar a arminha girando.
Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers. Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story. I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration.
Voltamos onde estamos aqui. Eu pensei que esse trem começar ali já na... Porrada sem entender nada. Ó, tá dando a volta ali, ó.
I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon. Suffice it to say, nobody there was happy to see me.
Calma, galera. Calma, muita treta, muita treta. Eita, quanta bebida desperdiçada. Tá nem aqui, ó. Atrás do piano.
In fact, I felt a certain hostility.
baixo, ó.
Yeah, you know you can't beat me. Just kill Red?
Volta, volta. Dá a volta, pega lá.
Yeah, you know you can't.
I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived, as a moment later I was facing down the fastest gun in the West.
Ó a ficha criminal.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Começou a virar para um lado e já vai pro outro.
No, wait! He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Vamos de novo, porque apertei, apertei, apertei e ele simplesmente ignorou a mira que eu tava usando. Agora não entendi. Tem que apertar, além do que apertei, ainda tem que usar o direcional? Vamos de novo essa bagaça, uma hora passa. A velocidade é foco, AID. Mentira, eu fui pra um lado, ainda apertei o tiro. O que você mais tem que fazer, mano? Eu tenho que fazer um, aí depois o outro. Aí dou ali na respiração. Fora da mira também não funciona, beleza? Vou tentar todas as opções, uma hora vai. Porra, mano. Bom, logo em seguida eu vou do outro.
No, wait! He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Caramba,
I felt a bolt of
toda.
adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Será que tem que ir pra um lado e atirar no outro? Pode ser. Tem que ficar indo de um lado pro outro, ó. Beleza,
That
acho que é
man was
isso.
faster than greased lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
So he
Atira,
didn't
vai pra um
die?
lado, atira, vai pro
No, I
outro.
sent him to
É isso que tinha
prison.
que fazer então, pelo que parece.
Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back in a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer? Ben?
Então era isso. Ele atirou, vai para um lado, atirou, vai pro outro, atirou, vai pro outro. Fica no zigue-zague.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, some say revenge is a dish best served cold.
So whatever happened to that Bob guy you were after?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know, did you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Lá, lobo cinza.
Yes, I did, Ben. I remember once I was after this renegade Apache, Grey Wolf.
O lobo
Strangely enough, revenge was also his primary motivation.
Lá o nome, Dança com os Renegados. Habilidade do sexto sentido permite que consiga 100% de concentração.
A bounty was put on Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains. Mountains so high they tickled the nether regions of heaven.
Vou lembrar pouquinho o...
Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death.
Então, esse comecinho do game aqui do capítulo lembra o Red Dead Redemption 2, né? Que lançou.
Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution, and were more than willing to die for him.
Estão acabando ali.
They saw me before I saw them.
Esquivei.
Crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down.
Esse momento do slow parece que só tem uma quando tá pertinho de perder.
They saw me before I saw them.
lá atrás. Errado, vai nesse aqui. Mais tranquilo. Lembrando que ainda tem a granada, deixa eu ver. Tem duas.
It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated from.
Volta, pega munição. Vai. Encerrada é só um tiro, beleza. Espera que tá ali do outro lado, ó.
I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Tá brincando, não chega ali. Tem que trocar de arma. Cuidado pra ter gente ali em cima. Caiu duro.
Did you find Grey Wolf?
Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
Ó, essa aqui é quase um fuzil.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
Don't tell me you went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness.
Calma. Vasculhe, calma. Eu vou a qualquer momento reloading.
See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the walls.
Escolha as cavernas. Ah, ali foi 2 com 1. Chapeuzinho. Trocar a arma.
How big was his cave?
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars.
Corre, não sei pra onde eu tô correndo. Consegue. Ó, reflexo. Tá duvidando?
They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead
Ó,
ones.
tem que apertar a sequência na hora ali. Desce. Eita, ganguezinha feroz. Novo nível.
How come you know so much about engines?
A few years back, I was married to 2 Mescalero women.
Deixa eu ver. Sangue frio aumenta a barra de concentração, concentre-se ainda mais, sua concentração dura 50% a mais. Barra é consumida mais lentamente. Teste de dinamite. Concentração.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Contando as histórias.
Well, I
Aventuras
pursued him
amorosas
into the
dele.
Cave of Death.
E tinha 2 esposas. Ai meu Deus, o Velho Oeste é fogo. Próximo é caverna.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows, and I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind,
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
he said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
Jogou feiticinho. Deu uma ilusão nele. Qual é essa água aqui? Pera, deixa eles dar a volta.
I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kinda like a miracle.
Passou pelos gases ali. Alucinógenos.
I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo's right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, but I am relating exactly what happened to me.
No caminho. Aí, ó.
There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady.
Estão jogando pedra?
I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches surrounded me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Sobrevive da emboscada. Recarrega. Pelo menos pra saber onde eles estão, pra depois
And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before.
Viu, ó? Ainda tá com efeitos do coisinha. Aquela névoa alucinógena. Vamos ver o que tem aqui. Do Nosso, durante os combos, seja mais mortal em suas sequências assassinatas. A partir do quarto nível de combo, seu disparo causa 100% de dano. E o outro... Já de dinamite, veja se seus inimigos carregam alguma surpresa explosiva nos bolsos. Você tem 10% de chance de encontrar uma banana de dinamite no corpo de um inimigo morto. E aqui, se mortal ou dinamite? Dinamite. E como é que é? Ele tá contando história? Pode mudar a
I
qualquer
followed
momento.
it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air.
Olha, se transformou num lobo. Fez que nem um crepúsculo.
Never did find him.
Lobisomem.
And never did collect my goddamn bounty. Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
Irmãos Dalton.
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
Olha lá, ele tentou caçar, mas não prendeu. Escapou, quer dizer.
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn street.
Tá aqui é o ponto de vista do carinha da loja. Pegar segredo.
Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, she'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeeville just to shut her up.
Ó, vídeo, amigo.
Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property.
You got us a hero.
Tamanho do relógio.
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently.
Outro vai contar uma história.
First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
História diferente.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. This man had no intention of letting the Daltons slip away. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender. This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting. From above. Fortunately, a water tower was right there. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did.
Olha lá, várias versões da mesma história.
Brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free.
Is that Silas Green?
Jim Bowie, Davy Crockett, who died defending the Alamo.
Eu atirei antes, que é isso, gente? Às vezes, nossa, tem que ir mais ligeiro.
We've got company.
Pelo menos salvamento automático, né?
Is that Silas Green? Can't hide forever.
Tá vindo.
I'm gonna.
Ficar atento no barulho, ó, do espacinho também, ó. Falei.
You one sorry son of a bitch.
Ah, maldito! Tem que jogar uma granadinha.
We've got company. Is that Silas Green? Son of a bitch! Come out, you yellow bastard!
Já sei que tem outro lá, beleza.
You'll die for this, you hear me?
Tem que ser mais rápido no gatilho do que de costume.
You ain't stopping me.
Então, melee. Tamanho dos cofres. Segredinho.
Over there!
Errei o comando, me lembra os comandos do Resident Evil.
That's Silas Green. What the hell?
Blam! Blam! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons.
But you can't hide.
Dizendo ali que era o Silas Reeves, personagem.
His name was Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened.
Olha lá, um contou a história, o outro encontrou o garoto. O cara contou a história.
It was early
O homem
evening,
contou a
not
história,
high
depois o
noon.
garoto e agora o Silas. 3 versões
I was late to the
da
party and
história.
Coffeeville was already up in arms. The Daltons blew up a safe and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
I'm ending you.
I had been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeeville.
Keep shooting. I don't mind. Shoot,
Vamos aqui
I
pro
dare
canto, ó.
Can you shoot around corners? You can't get me.
Já era um. Espera o próximo.
You ain't bothered me none. What are you gonna do?
Ó, vai me contando a mesma história, mas de perspectivas diferentes, né? De cada um. Mas no caso aqui vai mudando, ó. A gente começou a primeira versão lá onde estavam os policiais, aqui, lá de baixo, depois ali de cima e agora aqui. Tem os irmãos Dalton. Dá a volta.
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions.
Sem ter sequência, vamos pra coisa nova. Recarga sua arma ao iniciar a concentração. Basta se concentrar para estar pronto para atirar. Beleza.
I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose them. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons, and they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons, which wasn't any surprise, because those two families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeyville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Ali, ó. Tem dois aqui. Parece uma casinha que a gente entrou lá contra o Billy the Kid. Pegar segredo, parece.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least two of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Será que tem que subir por ali?
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Reeves.
He was determined to protect his brothers, and I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long fight.
Quase, mano. É que essa deu mais dano. E fui pra cima. E caí. Nem esqueci que não pode cair. Beleza, vamos. Beleza, dá pra correr ali. Vai pro outro lado, se agacha. Aí.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeyville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him? But I have to admit, that boy had grit.
Conquistada. História real. Caçador de recompensas ainda é meu nome. queria se vingar de Bob Bryan. Acho que vai contar, né? 1 hora.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this!
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track him to the ends of the earth.
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
Ali, amigo. Consertar de um lado e de outro. E a gente vai por baixo.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell. It was tough to stay on a true course, so we kept an eye out for landmarks.
Olha a referência.
It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color, red as blood.
Tem que falar que as coisas vai mudando e muda durante.
The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded.
O indicador foi
The
desativado.
vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody. Except for some bitches ahead of me wanting to do me harm. So I had to face them alone. I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
Referência apontando pra lá, uma setinha pra cá.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet. But I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends. The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
Tiro rápido. Opa. Vamos ver que essa minha é boa mesmo. Preciso seguir as marcações ali, ó. Subchefe ali. Tome. Falta a marcação aqui.
and my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen. Point being, I was under serious attack.
Bury him in the swamp.
Pera. Ali é 2 tiros pra garantir, meu Deus do céu. Tá aqui, pega munição, aí a gente vai.
But luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view, but just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running for the bushes. Of course, I followed them. But that goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve? So I just started walking, and pretty soon... Steve? Steve?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
There were Indians?
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Bounty hunters! Stop that son!
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet, but I did find a few of their cousins. You Kansans breed like rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what. But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Ali, ó. Proteção. Reloading.
Waste your bullets. Go ahead. Can you shoot around the corner? Yeah. Let that asshole get away with this. You come out and I will. You can't get me.
Tem 4, beleza, 4. mais dinamite, é melhor. Tem que fazer valer a pena o slow, hein? Transforma combos em concentração, beleza. Vamos nessa da sequência. Propulsão. Calma, ele tá aqui, ó. Vai até essa arma pra recarregar é mais rápida que as outras.
Death is coming for you.
I knew those Dalton boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would threaten them. And that's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat? In a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps?
Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Ó, como é rápido que vocês viram. É mesmo, mas pra carregar ela é...
Somewhere up there, the Daltons were waiting on me.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something.
Ó, pegou até
I do it.
espingarda.
Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell.
Caramba, essa arminha é muito boa. Essa ideia é ficar com ela até o final do jogo. Ah, fui descendo ali. Esqueci daquela checada básica. Aqui não.
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. Huh? But it turned out that they had me.
Take him out! I'm sending you to hell!
Olha, trabalhando com os criminosos.
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle. Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Oh, yeah, but I was in a
Did you
fight.
hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
You're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed to. I don't think it'll even float.
So anyway...
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh, God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Greaves?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. It was time to settle this once and for all. Weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Superar aqui sempre, por isso que eu arrisquei. Aqui zigue-zague, então. Apareceu a opção pra gente ali, caramba. Tem que ficar no meio dos dois. Atire em um e desvia do outro. Pode ser. Vamos lá. Tá nesse aqui. Salvar com maestria. O episódio de hoje.
They got it wrong. A sad end for
Atire
those
e vai
two.
virando pro outro lado, depois volta.
If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later. He moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the... My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told.
Esse jogo, infelizmente, não dá pra jogar muito não, que tá... Ataca a minha tite!
It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Não bastou roubarem eles, ainda perderam. Depois foram roubar eles porque perderam e ainda mataram. Iam matar os três, né? Mas por sorte ali o Silas sobreviveu, mas os outros dois irmãos morreram.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy, they were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Perseverança. E aqui cabo mais curto, estrutura mais leve, melhor agilidade ao mirar, a resistência elevada permite o uso de projéteis de pólvora, granulada aumentando seu poder de fogo, além dessas pistolinhas aqui que é rápido.
You were part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy. A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. I'd heard about a large shipment of gold being transported to Wilcox, Wyoming on the Overland Flyer. I figured the Wild Bunch would likely hit such a treasure, and by God, I figured right.
Pouquinho curto, mas aqui ó, as pistolinhas, rápido do gatilho, até pra recarregar. E é isso que a gente vai ver no próximo episódio. Não dá pra jogar muito, infelizmente. Tem até uns jogos. Não lembro desse no começo, mas tem uns jogos que falam, olha, se caso persistirem os sintomas, o médico deverá ser consultado. Tem jogos que podem causar esse efeito, até jogo, anime, séries, filmes, que tem uns jogos de luz ali que podem causar ali um piripaque do Chaves, louco. Por alguns segundos, ou se jogar muito, ou se ver por muito tempo. É isso que a gente vai ver no próximo episódio, ó, toda personalizada.
Eu vou procurar a coach dos irmãos Winchester pra ver se parece com essas. Porque olha, promete, hein?